Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's NBA betting podcast. This is the Thursday edition. I'm your host, Sean Little, with my guy, Jim Turvey of Turvey Bets at Turvey Bets. Follow the guy on Twitter. This is our second day in a row. How you doing, baby?
Doing all right, doing a little better that those trends held up in Knicks Pacers for us. We almost came through on the one Matt threw out there at the end, the Knicks first quarter Pacers game. But hey, as a Knicks fan, I'm taking the win. I'm taking that first quarter. They smacked them. We even got the alt line -6.5. So yeah, that was great to see.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wasn't as locked in as you guys. I had Giannis over his point prop 31 and a half, and he scored a season low. So that's just the game. That's part of the game. That it shakes out sometimes, but we bounce back. We look forward. We move on to the Thursday NBA slate. Jim, give me your best bet for Thursday. I'll give mine, and we'll break it down.
Love it. Yeah, my best bet. I'm going to be looking at Cam Thomas points. We'll dive in a little bit more. The line's not out there just yet, so we'll kind of talk through the logic so people know what they're doing when they see that come out.
I'm going Philadelphia 76ers team total over 120 and a half is what I'm looking at right now across the board. There's still some -110s out there. I'm going to log that as we record this Wednesday night. All right, Jim, give it to me. Why are you looking at the prop?
Yeah, so Cam Thomas, Brooklyn Nets, a little bit more of an obscure player. A guy who can really go off though, and he's one of those players I love where he kind of makes it predictable, at least semi-predictable when he's going to go off and when he's not. If you look at the 7 games that Kyrie missed earlier in the season, he hopped right in. He was averaging 13 and a half points a game during that stretch. And then that one game where the Nets sat all their starters, he had 33 in that game. So, there's I know the Nets Twitter has the free Cam Thomas stuff. So he's a guy who I think could, they're going to be in need of points. Durant's all around game has been great this year, but they really are going to be in need of some points. So I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Kyrie points overs. I don't hate that look, but I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path and be looking at Cam Thomas. Now where things get a little trickier, the point props don't come out by the time we record these. So, and I don't want to just give a blind, play whatever number. We want to attack this in a sane way. I'm thinking the line's going to come out around 13 and a half, 14 and a half. I would definitely take that over. But what I'll tell you is that always follow us in the app. Sean gives great write-ups for his picks. I do some for mine as well. And you're gonna want to see just how much we can attack this. The books may be sharp, they may sniff it out. But I'm thinking there's going to be some real value even on some of the escalators for these points too, because Cam, when he gets cooking, he can really go off. He's going against the Celtics team here, third game and fourth night in 4 nights. Now Marcus Smart and Robert Williams were out tonight, so it's maybe they're a little bit better rested, but still this is a team got a little bit tired legs. Cam Thomas, I think he's going to be looking to break in the rotation with KD out and really stick this time. So I'm be looking over, certainly if it's 13 and a half, 14 and a half, even if it creeps up 16 and a half, 17 and a half, I might be giving it a look depending on the juice. And I'm definitely going to be looking for some escalators as long as they give us some decent return on those.
Yeah, sometimes we get too in the weeds on breaking these numbers down analytically. Listen, KD's not on the floor. They're going to have to, that's a lot of buckets and a lot of points to pick up the slack for. And they got to come from somebody if they're going to compete in these games, especially against marquee squads like the Celtics. So those are the spots you want to pick. You just got to decide who's going to get the looks and who's going to produce
Exactly.
and pick up the slack for KD being out. All right, I'm looking at the 76ers team total over 120 and a half. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers have been playing some really ridiculous basketball the last, I'll call it 2 months, but at least in December and in January. 13-3 over their last 16 games. And over the last 10, number 2 in offensive rating, bottom 10 in turnovers at 11.7. And you call it top 10. 6 is Cleveland, 11.5. The 76ers at 11.7. So they're not far from that top 5, turning the ball over, just running efficiently and playing really good basketball. Now, I want to talk about James Harden. Because as soon as James Harden doesn't play well, has a bad stretch, is injured, everyone piles on and clowns him. They can't wait to make fun of James Harden and talk about how he's stealing money. He's not in shape, everything in between. And then when the guy comes out and plays really good basketball, currently coming off 2 straight triple doubles, has been playing a really efficient, especially from the 3-point line, his last 10. He's shooting over 40%, picking up a lot of those buckets I was just talking about with Kevin Durant. Embiid's been out. He's been picking up a lot of that offensive slack. Now Maxi's back in the fold. Philadelphia is one of those squads that is rolling at the moment. Let's look at some of these numbers for James Harden. Let's just go game by game. I don't care if it's against the Pistons. Back-to-back triple doubles. In their last game on Tuesday, 16, 15 assists, 12 rebounds. Essentially the same game a couple of nights before on Sunday, 20, 11, and 11. But even like an off night against the Bulls, they took a loss, 17, 11, and 7. He was 4 of 17 from the floor, but that's the worst game he's had in quite a long time. He's been putting up big assist numbers, averaging 10.6 in January, averaged 12 assists in the month of December. So he's been playing really good ball, and I need some people to start talking about it. No one wants to give my guy Harden respect when he's playing really well, but are ready to clown him when he's not. And I'm not gonna act like I'm not one of those guys as well, but I'm trying to show him his due right now. I think they continue to keep rolling. Now, let's talk about the Thunder for a second. If you've been watching this Thunder squad, and I try to catch him as much as I can on full games with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's really fun. And I really love Lou Dort. That's my guy. He's a guy you want on your team. He would fit anywhere. And he's like a Caruso type of dude. I really love Lou Dort's game. But the Thunder are a competitive squad. They're gritty, and they keep the game close. And that's not just like me saying gritty team, hard nose. It's not that. They're 20-9 against the spread as an underdog, 11-8 against the spread on the road. So they're keeping these games close. They're not getting as much love as they should be. When you see a team that's 20-9 against the spread, that's exactly what it's telling you. Oklahoma City also, I like this spot. Third in pace. They're going to be able to pace up the Sixers, hopefully squeeze out a couple extra possessions in the game, make the Philadelphia 76ers pick it up, and that just means more buckets for Philly. The reason I bring up the Thunder keeping the game competitive is because if they keep it competitive, there's not going to be any room for Philadelphia to put on, to come off the gas offensively, and that plays really well to the over, especially the team total here at 120.5. Sixers 9-1 to the over in their last 10. Thunder 7-3 to the over in their last 10. I like this trend to continue rolling. Philly's at home. Once again, this is not the first home game back. I made that mistake recently. We've actually talked about that a bunch on this Buckets podcast about teams coming off a long road trip, getting home. That first game is a little sluggish because, they get back, they hang out with their girls, they hang out with their family, they get that type of business out of the way, and they show up to the arena and they come out a little sluggish. They've been home. This will be a back-to-back home game. They did that duplex spot. First the Pistons. I like in short, I like the Celtics to continue to keep rolling against a Thunder team that might pick up the pace on them. That's more possessions on offense, and I think the Thunder keep it close. So I like the team total over 120.5 for the Sixers.
What I love the floor of the Sixers offense too, because so Embiid, he was out 3 games recently. He was in the most recent game. He's probably going to be listed questionable. That's just kind of what you get with him. Yeah. But even if he's out, if you slot Montrezl Harrell in, he can put up the offensive numbers, not quite Embiid level, obviously, but him and Harden as a pick and roll combo is pretty fun. That's like kind of if you were to choose a backup big for Harden to have to keep the offense rolling, that's Montrezl Harrell. So I think there's a really high floor to their offensive total. You're not going to see them put up a total dud. It's going to be in that range. And then to your point, the Thunder, it does sound like it's platitude. It's like, oh, they're great, but like truly they're actually gritty and they actually keep games close. There's not the language to describe it better. Is like, they just keep games close. And so you're going to have to keep trying down the stretch. Yeah. And
they're not going to keep pushing. There's a couple, there's bad teams out here in the NBA that quit. The Thunder are not one of them. So
no, 100%.
Yeah, and God forbid we can get 3 threes or 4 threes out of Tobias Harris, and we should blow through the number. But, I don't want to ask for too much out here. But
Right, he's one who I avoid betting on because you never know with Tobias.
yeah, man, I've been waiting for Tobias to like really go to the next level for years now. It's just doesn't seem like it's coming. But interesting slate. We already went over Celtics, Nets, Bucks, Heat. Bucks have won two in a row. They had to come back against the Knicks, won a close game, held off the Hawks, and then the Heat got a W after shooting 40 free throws. So that's an interesting spot. And then we have the TNT game is Mavs in Los Angeles to take on the Lakers at formerly known Staples Center. Any thoughts on that game? We also have Cleveland at the Trailblazers, who I backed the other night, who showed up and laid a dud against the Magic. Potentially a little bit of an emotional letdown spot for Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell coming off the Jazz game in Utah. Now they have to not travel too far, but go to the Trailblazers, who will be very hungry for a win. Any thoughts on any of the other games on the slate?
Yeah. So if I had a backup tonight, I was thinking in that Mavs Lakers game, it's a little bit of a square play, but honestly, in recent seasons, it seems like these guys, the stars, they put a little extra juice in those TNT games.
No doubt.
And a Luka LeBron parlay for both their point totals over. Again, it's about as like basic as it comes, but like these guys just show, and like those two guys want to play for each other. Like they're gonna like put a little extra juice in it. And I think especially if one guy's really going off, then it's on the other guy to kind of chase him. So if you parlay them so they both are going over, then it's like, if they're kind of playing off each other, you come out on top in the end. That was the one thing that kind of jumped out to me from that game. How about you?
Yeah, no, it's interesting too with LeBron because he has the Kareem thing that's hanging out there, and I feel like he wants to get that done sooner rather than later. And yeah, I agree that's definitely an angle. These big boys are going to show up on TNT. They know they're playing right after Celtics Nets. These are some of the best teams in the East, and slotted coming into the year. They want to be repped as two of the best teams in the West. Yeah. And they're going to try to do that. I think that Trailblazer spot is really interesting. My backup, if I wasn't going to play the team total for Philly, and I might still play it, is the Blazers first half. They're going to be really hungry to come out and get a W. I didn't see the official number yet. It should be around 1.5, 2 points. As the Trailblazers being the underdog, I'll take the 2 points in the first half there. We'll see if I log in and get to the actual window. But that's going to do it for the Thursday edition of Buckets. Pleasure linking up back-to-back nights with my guy, Jim Turby. Make sure you follow him everywhere at Turby Bets in the Action Network app on Twitter. Our guy, Matt Moore, will be back next week. Don't worry. Hopefully, our guy, Jay Money, will be back next week as well. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. Shout out our guys over at FanDuel for always holding us down. Buckets, NBA, Action Networks, NBA Daily Betting Podcast. Stay locked for daily picks. We'll see y'all next time.